What's the scariest moment in a video game you've ever had? The moment in Silent Hill 3 when you're in the office buildings. In one of the rooms you find a mannequin and when you leave the room you hear an ear-piercing scream. Go back to where the mannequin is and its head is split in half with blood spilling out. Freaking crap, scared me to death when I played it the first time. One of the most underrated games I have ever seen is called Do You Copy and it horrified me. It's made via Unity engine, but I could be mistaken. It focuses on psychological horror more than it does other elements. It's about a forest watchtower hearing a distressed hiker over a radio, and it just escalates from there. It's some of the best work I have seen, especially for how low of a budget the team had. Google image makes it look like a more horror version of Firewatch. When I first played Amnesia: The Dark Descent, I spent a significant portion of the game just sort of pushing through everything with the attitude that it's just a game. It can't hurt you, just do it. But there was this one moment when I was in a sewer part of the game where I sort of knew I had to cross through a particular area where I could hear a monster lurking, and there weren't that many places to hide as I went through. I remember being gripped by this primal fear that I've never really felt in a game before, like I could pretty much feel it in the pit of my stomach. Once you've seen behind the curtain and you understand how the game works, it becomes a whole lot less scary, but the first time through, when the game was just full of so many unknowns, it was definitely an experience. A few come to mind. The first 3 hours of my first playthrough of Re7, before you learn the game's tricks and how to fight back, could only do it 30 minutes at a time. The giant head in the hospital hallway in Silent Hill 4 was just so out of nowhere and it appears at random. The only jump scare in Eternal Darkness. Truly earned. Dude, Re7 and only doing 30 minutes at a time. I was right there with you. Took me a bit to get over the anxiety of a game. Doing some exploring in Stalker when I find an empty building. Outside is chaos, but here it's quiet. Doesn't feel right. Look down one dark hallway and see something at the end. Cautiously inch forward and see that it's a dead body. Don't even bother looting it before losing my nerve and turning back, only for a bloodsucker to appear right in front of me. Had to pause and take a break for a while before emptying my mag into that walking bullet sponge nightmare fuel. I cannot wait to see what Stalker 2 will bring. The first Dead Space will always have a special place in my heart. Some of the jump scares, plus the regeneration monster had me crapping myself. Worked on Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. Makes me happy I didn't have to scroll far at all to see this. In Half-Life 2, I recall a point where the game draws your attention up some stairs. As you start to ascend, the stairs break and collapse, dropping you in front of some zombies. Playing late at night, it totally got me. Arriving home. For me, it was halfway through it when I started to notice that the zombies, the human heads underneath, were independently talking from the zombie sounds. They are in a perpetual state of confusion, panic and pain. When I realized a dying one let out this sobbing thank you, I got a little freaked out and had to take a break. PT, don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started. Sudden cut to silence with Lisa's ghastly visage right in front of you. I mean, honestly, the whole thing is a heebie-jeebies simulator. I was stoked about that game when I found out that it was by Kojima and Del Toro, but then I found out that the imagery was also being designed by Junji Ito. I will never forgive Konami for cancelling the full product. Resident Evil, Director's Cut. When that mother slowly turns around after munching on that Jacob's lower GI tract, I would always freak out. OMG, yes, I just said the same thing before seeing your comment. I was just walking around in Skyrim and then a bear roared in my ear randomly for the first time. They purposely amplified the sound effect of the bears to be 100x louder than anything else in the game. It scared a shot out of me. It's not even a horror game but Red Dead Redemption 2. I was casually riding my horse through a very dark forest tonight and saw a body that had been hung from a tree along the side of the path. Thought it was kind of sad and got off my horse to shoot the dude down, but suddenly these completely silent guys rush out of the bushes and start attacking me with knives. I couldn't see them because of how dark it was. I panic and back up trying to shoot one. Guy didn't make a sound when I shot him, he just crumbled silently, but there was too many of them and they rushed me and silently hacked at me with melee weapons. The dark and the complete silence of the whole thing freaked me way more than any jump scare from a horror game. IDKY. The night folk. They never talk. Creepy AF. Lemoyne is a messed up state. It also has the rapist dude and the incest couple who drug, rob and kill people. Walking into the Shallowbridge Cradle in Thief Deadly Shadows. It wasn't just scary, it was terrifying. That level made me stop playing several times and just start over the game so I didn't have to go in there. Or just any moment in Subnautica when you begin to go deeper and deeper into the quiet darkness. Suma, you have no weapons, and if they find you, the effect is terrifying. Sometimes I had to wait for my girlfriend to come over because I couldn't play it alone. Masterfully done atmospheric horror. Soma is amazing, especially the special monsters and doors that kill you if you don't look at them or the other way around. It's been ages since I have played it. Doesn't help that their heads almost look like the big daddies from BioShock. The Flood in Halo combat evolved. The build up with the environment and found footage along with the off music made for an awesomely terrifying fight for my life. This totally changed the tone of the game, and I did not expect it at all. When Cortana flips out about the weapons cache Captain Keyes was looking for, you could just tell something was wrong. Then you find the crashed dropship with the recording on a loop, and then a crazy marine that starts shooting at you. I thought the atmosphere was completely underrated. Playing TLOU, clearing out some clickers when my 5-year-old daughter sneaked out of bed to ask me something, and before I knew she was behind me she whispered daddy in my ear. Oh no, fatherhood. That's what was really scary about The Last of Us after all. I'm terrified of spiders. In Resident Evil 2, there are huge, bear-sized spiders in the sewers. The first time I played that game the spiders scared the crap out of me and it took me a few hours before I could continue playing. Same. There's a mission in Uncharted 3 where you have to escape some labyrinth and a bunch of spiders chase you. The insanity moments in Eternal Darkness. Sanity's Requiem. This was an incredible old GameCube game, where in addition to having a health and mana meter, your many characters also had sanity meters. As you went along through the game, and you encountered scarier and more gruesome creatures and other assorted nightmares, you would start to literally go insane. This would trigger any number of insanity moments that were extremely unnerving, especially if you were playing alone. One such moment simulated your television changing channels. This scared the crap out of me. Another presented you with a fake end screen saying that you needed to order the next episode of the game to continue. It was really jarring and surreal and just very chilling when it happened, and then suddenly snapped back to the horrors of the actual game. Sometimes your character would proceed through a new room as normal, until slowly their limbs started falling off as they screamed in pain. Simulating the silhouettes of small bugs crawling across your television screen was another good one. On the surface, none of this sounds as visceral as, say, the Resident Evil dog window moment. But as I'm sure others can attest, these were very strange, surreal moments that sometimes made you feel like you weren't alone inside your own house. It was very well done and extremely scary. Oh, and then there was also the bathtub scene and the hanging scene, which were both horrifying for other reasons. I won't spoil it. Overall, one of the scariest things I've ever played and definitely a brilliant and deep piece of horror. In this vein, in the first Arkham game, when you get scarecrow gassed and the game simulates a video card failure and then resets to the title sequence, only with Joker driving instead. I had been dealing with some legitimate problems in that vein and almost hard reset my PC right then. There's a point near the end of Silent Hill 2 where you can't keep going unless you get rid of everything in your inventory. Let me tell you, walking through pitch black corridors listening only to the sound of your footsteps and the grotesque writhing noises the monsters make with no way of fighting back is extremely nerve-wracking. Man-Bat popping up and screaming at you as you're trying to grapple up a building in Arkham Knight startled the frick out of me. Chugging along in my Seamoth in Subnautica, entering a potentially dangerous, Leviathan-infested biome, all senses heightened for the presence of massive super predators. Then I hit a stray peeper and just about die from fright because goddamn it makes a loud noise. In Resident Evil 1 Remake, when a hunter jumped from the second floor to the first next to the East Wing safe room, It was my third time playing the remake and Hunters never did that, without counting my 10+ years of experience with the original game. Scared me shitless. Never felt safe in the game again. It's kind of a dumb one, but The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. The game is very nearly just a walking simulator, but there's a point when you're underground and, if you look down a path to your right, you spy what appears to be a man in the distance holding a lantern. This is the first person ever encountered, and this is like 2/3 RDS through the game. So I just kind of stared at him for a second, wondering how to approach the situation since he's the first human, or any kind of NPC, I've encountered in this entire game. Before I decide what to do, he blinks out of existence. Now, there are some atmospheric, mildly creepy things that have happened already, so I was just like, huh, must be my character halluci, blah egg, jump scare, him it right in your face, full screen, and you game over. Holy fuck nuggets, did I scream? Probably threw my mouse in the air, immediately shut the game off and noped the frick out of that bee. It was an old card matching game on the Goosebumps Horrorland website. When you ran out of time, an image of a werewolf would jump scare you, and this scared the living daylights out of my little brother and I. I had Escape from Horrorland on CD-ROM, and every time I got to the werewolf part I would make my brother beat it for me because I was terrified of the werewolf. Watching it now, that mf looks dumb as heck lol. Whenever you open a door in Resident Evil 2 it did a little door opening animation. If a zombie was on the other side, sometimes they would burst through the door during the animation. For someone that wasn't expecting that the first time, it freaked me out big time. The cabin outside the police station, it always seems safe with a transitional animation, but then the first time I stumbled across a bruiser in Witcher 3, walked up to the nice lady and she scared the crap out of me, had the volume up way too loud lol. A random lesson in the eastern forests of Velen was what did it for me, so creepy. I have to Outlast. I was walking and reloaded my camera batteries. When it came up the night vision was off. I toggled it on and a crazy person was about a second away from beating me to death with a machete. In mid-swing, I yelled, tossed my controller and instinctively punched and ended up putting the controller through the wall. Oblivion. I was wandering around playing the game in an Xbox party with my roommate while I was home for Christmas. I left and went to go eat, and came back to my game after about 30 minutes. I played for about 5 hours after that, and was wandering through a cave when a loud butt noise came through my TV and I yelled and about crap myself. Turns out, I had never left the party but my headphones had died, so all the party audio was going through the speakers. My buddy went to sleep waiting on me to come back, and when he woke up, he turned on his headset and cleared his throat very loudly. This was amplified to the nth degree by the way I had my audio mix set and how loud my surround sound was. Genuinely sounded like a demon in my ear. It took me a lot longer than I expected to find out last. I haven't beaten it. I can only play it a little bit at a time. One of these days. The Rat King in The Last of Us 2. Scary but also disgust. The very idea of what it is just obscene. The lighting of the scene makes it even more unnerving. And every time you think you've killed it, well, without spoiling it, you haven't. That part was wild. The game spent that entire section hyping up a massive infected beast and I still wasn't ready for it. Easy, Doki Doki Literature Club. When Monica says she knows your real name, and then says your real name, Jesus, I literally turned off my monitor in fear. Randomly my computer made scary ambient noises that would only stop if I closed Steam. They stopped after I uninstalled Amnesia. Game is haunted. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. There's a part of the game where you go into a mine to find more clues about a murder. I saw a man carrying a lantern, so I approached him and he turned around, screamed and killed me. He was super deformed looking, which made it even more terrifying. It was completely unexpected and I quit the game and deleted it immediately. PT. Just seeing the woman, Lisa, slightly glitching her head back and forth and around from a distance in a dim light, and then slide rushing into you when you edge up a tad closer. I wish that game was made into a full project respectfully. It would have been a masterpiece. Silent Hill. Rented it when it came out and hid it until a Friday night when I was home alone so my parents wouldn't know. Between the fog, radio, and creatures around town I didn't last long. Turned it off and spent the rest of the night watching TV with all the lights on. Is there a tradition in BioShock where there's at least one moment where an enemy threat spawns directly behind you to surprise you when you turn around? In BioShock 1, there's a splicer that sneaks up on you and reveals itself after you search a particular cabinet. I think the game even causes steam to descend and cloud your vision as an added effect leading up to it. Have only played BioShock 2 up to the first encounter with Big Sister, and then shelved it to play other stuff. So I don't know if there was such a moment there. BioShock Infinite had the Boy of Silence, and Burial at Sea has the Little Sister. There's a variation in BioShock 1's Fort Frolic that's not so much a jump scare, but an ongoing creepy danger. When you enter a bar, Sinclair's Spirits, there are around 6 wax figures of spider splicers surrounding the entrance. Sander Cohen made a lot of these and placed them throughout the level. Ordinarily you'd think nothing of them because all of Cohen's statues are just corpses in different poses. Under the bar table there's a button that, when pressed, opens a door to a hidden room with a power to the people machine. Sitting in the corner of the room is another wax figure, in a chair facing the wall. If you use the power to the people machine, you turn around and see that the figure has moved, and is now posed like a ballerina right in front of you. If you approach it, it comes to life and attacks you. There's more. When you go back to the entrance of the bar, the 6 spider splicer statues are gone. They're alive, and stalk you throughout the level. Unlike regular spider splicers, they can't speak, so the only sound you'll hear is them clambering along the ceiling. Luckily I had static shock equipped and upgraded, so any sneak melee attacks would instantly damage them. When the flood first appeared in Halo, in the level 343 Guilty Spark, the level started off creepy enough. I can't forget about the Marine shooting at Master Chief screaming and saying things like "You're not going to turn me into one of those things." Then there was the dead Marine that Master Chief caught when that door opened. Then Master Chief saw that recording, and then after that, the infection forms started appearing. And the music that accompanied it too traumatized the shit out of me. I also can't forget the bloated flood carriers that carried the infection forms in later levels that blew up. Disgusting. The bottom of the well in Ocarina of Time. I was a kid. How did they get away with fitting that into an E-rated game? The moment that still sticks with me was falling through the floor to the bottom level. There's a pit of green goop that damages your health. Look closely and you can see layers and layers of hands sticking out of the ground. I recently replayed the game while baked, and the energy and awe of that dungeon was so satanic I actually had trouble finishing it. The other would be Killer 7. I didn't know how susceptible I was to jump scares until I played that game. There's a large number of points in the game where you're liable to have a heaven's smile suddenly explode on you with no warning if you haven't memorized where they show up, or if you don't have the volume high enough to automatically be able to sense it when they're there. It's a tie, but those are the ones that made me go to panic mode. 1. Manhunt, the crazy dude looking for his shoes. 2. Max Payne, when his family is violently attacked and MP walks through a bloody maze kinda like in a dreamy state. I was playing Last of Us, and a zombie just spawned right behind me, its face facing me on the TV, made a loud groan, then that cut into it biting into Ellie's neck, and the screams combined bass boosted. Crap was bad. I don't play a lot of scary games, but Fatal Frame for PS2 was great. She fights Ghost with a camera, and in case that isn't insane enough, you do more damage if you let them get close to you. One point that sticks out in my mind is the hallway that has this scary garbly noise. Then later in the game that hallway is silent. I didn't realize silence could be that unsettling. Also, I once was going to play the game while dog sitting. The dog freaked out and barked. It made it seem like there was an actual ghost that was scary. This dog. It was probably some high-pitched sound in the mixture of sounds that made ghost noises on the game. I was up late playing Arkham Knight when I ran into freaking Man-Bat just roaming Gotham City. Was a jump scare I was not expecting at all. I had the lights off and it was like 2 AM. Literally flew back in my chair. Eternal Darkness. Sanity's Requiem had some amazing scare mechanics with their sanity system. The scariest to me had to be the one involving the saves where it pretends to delete all your save files. Holy crap, I remember freaking out over that the first time that happened. That game was so good at fricking with your head. Shame we haven't gotten a proper remake or sequel. This game got me good with the silhouette of a spider crawling across the screen. There were so many sanity meter pranks, I don't think I ever saw all of them. Modern Warfare 2 or 3, I forget which, when they show the emergency broadcast system for Prince George's County, MD and surrounding counties. I live in a surrounding county. Crap terrifies me every time. MW2. When I first played Breath of the Wild and I came across a guardian and it chased me with its laser, I was literally running away scared and inevitably died a couple times over trying to figure a way around it or kill it. LMAO. Not that scary, but it got the heart pumping, haha. My favorite scare moment in a video game is a personal one because it involves a glitch. Me and a friend were playing Oblivion, him at the controls, me providing commentary, and we were doing a Dark Brotherhood quest to assassinate someone at an inn. Along the way we accidentally pee off a Minotaur. We're far too underleveled to deal with it, so we make a run for it, keeping just ahead enough to make it into the inn and to safety. We make our way to the target. He's alone and sleeping. Should be an easy kill, but the stealth sensor is showing danger and we don't know why. It was at this point that the Minotaur kicked down the door and charged us. Turns out the rule of loading screen safety doesn't apply to bulls. We promptly crap ourselves and got the frick out of there. Could never recreate that moment, but that heart-stopping moment has stayed with us both for years. Slenderman. When it first became popular, I played the game and he popped up on the screen with that scary noise and I screamed and threw my laptop on the floor. Darkwood is the scariest game I've ever played. I only have 109 minutes in it, but I put it down back in 2018 and don't foresee myself picking it back up again. Remember the first Star Wars game for the N64? There was one part where you go in that cave. It was really quiet. I wasn't expecting anything, but when I turned around there was a huge whomper in my face taking swings at me. I never saw it coming and I'll never forget that initial scaredness. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.